So we're going to talk about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I know that it's kind of an older story. It's a month old, but in the news world, that's ancient. Mm-hmm. So on June 25th of this year, the Supreme Court deemed Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 unconstitutional and subsequently gutted Section 5.
Now, for our audience who do not know Section 4 or 5.
So Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act is basically a formula that determines which states are more prevalent to racial discrimination.
Okay.
And Section 5 is basically a rule that says if you are going to change your voting laws,
Mm-hmm.
it has to go through the Department of Justice first.
Okay.
They have to approve it, and then you can change your voting laws. I don't know if you remember last year, there was, I believe, in Virginia, South Carolina, Louisiana,
Southern states,
they were trying to do those voter IDs.
Yes.
Law changes.
I remember.
And they had to go to the district attorney,
Mm-hmm.
Eric Holder, and say, hey, we want to change these laws. And there was actually, they were actually voted down.
Mm-hmm.
Not really voted, but they basically were denied the ability to make those changes. And they appealed, and then they were denied again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they do not have to do that. They don't have to go through the Justice Department. They could just make the change.
Okay. This
completely.
is through. This came through already.
This is through, yes.
Okay.
This was on June 25th. The Section 4 was deemed unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the deciding vote was Antonin Scalia. I don't think that that surprises anybody.
Right. It doesn't surprise me at all.
So here are the states that used to be covered under Section 4.
Okay.
Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
Alaska,
Mm-hmm.
Arizona,
Terrible.
Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
Texas, and Virginia.
Okay.
I know you said terrible
Yes.
on Arizona.
Yep.
Because that is where the state that we live in.
That's correct.
And but I believe we see a pattern here.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Red states.
Mm-hmm.
So it also includes specific counties, not generally the entire state, but specific counties in other states, including California, Florida, New York, North Carolina, and South Dakota.
Right. And to me, what that says is that they're trying to redistrict those areas, right?
Well, some of them are. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll get into that in a sec.
Okay.
So what happened after Section 4 was deemed unconstitutional? Did we wait a week?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we waited a week? At least a week, right?
Probably, yeah.
We actually waited 2 hours,
Oh.
and Texas decided to change their voting laws.
Oh,
2
of course.
hours.
Wow.
So here's
that seems pretty slow for Texas, actually.
You think they would do like 10 minutes?
I think 10 minutes. If they could, they would have everyone ready.
I don't think that they had an ability to go faster. I think that they would.
Like, that's the fastest they could possibly get.
I think 2 hours. I think we could put that on the board.
Okay.
2 hours is the fastest that a state changed their laws after the Supreme Court deemed something unconstitutional. Now I have to reiterate here, not reiterate, but I have to mention that these states love to pick and choose what's constitutional, what's unconstitutional,
Yep.
and also what they're going to change based upon, like, for example,
Mm-hmm.
Roe versus Wade.
Right.
That was decided by the Supreme Court,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody seems to care about how the Supreme Court said that was, or put that law in place.
Right.
Basically said this is the law of the land.
Mm-hmm.
No one seems to care, but when it goes in their favor, they're 2 hours in and they make their change. So, new voter ID laws. I don't really agree with the voter ID laws. You can make a case saying that we have to have them
Mm-hmm.
because of fraud, voter fraud.
Right.
I think that
Some would say that.
Some would say that,
Mhm.
and some have definitely debated with me about that. I think anybody who actually pays attention and is unbiased
Mhm.
about what's going on and just tries to look at the facts knows that voter fraud is so insignificant
Mhm.
that we do not need these laws. Okay, we were working just fine under our current system
Right, I
without
agree.
these voter ID laws.
Yep.
Okay, they're redistricting the map.
Well, now they can redistrict however they feel fit.
Well, they're doing that now.
Yeah.
So last year they tried to redistrict the map and it was blocked
Okay.
by the district attorney. The reason why they just redistrict the map is to try to get an advantage
Well, of course.
over areas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have some Democratic areas,
Some small.
some small
in
Democratic
Texas, yeah.
districts.
Austin, for example, is very liberal.
Well, I don't think people. I think people think that Texas is more red than it is. I think it's starting to become purple, and move more in a liberal.
I think it has to do with the increasing Latino population.
Yes.
I think it's a good thing.
Yep. No, it definitely is.
Okay.
What I think is that you should have a balance between. What I think is we should have a three-party state, but that's for another story. That's for another day.
Yeah.
But if we're going to have a two-party system, you should have a balance between both Democrats and Republicans as far as districts are concerned.
Sure.
Right? But because then you get an equal amount of votes for each state.
Okay.
Okay? So what they're doing now, you're saying, is that they're redistricting so that these states become more predominantly red. Is that what you're saying?
Just specific areas and maybe
Specific
larger
areas.
than others. Yeah.
For more for the
Well, here's some crazy stuff.
Okay,
And
you go ahead.
Let me give you some reasons why. A couple of two reasons why they redistricted the map.
Okay.
Okay. They redistricted the map on some areas to include country clubs.
Country clubs.
Country clubs, like to go golfing. Really
Okay.
rich guy wants to go golfing at a specific country club. They redistricted the map for that. I don't know why.
Maybe because they don't want the very privileged to drive far for when they need to vote.
But it's not like they move it. They just redraw the map
Right.
around it.
Yeah, but if they redistrict an area, could they then put a new polling place closer to the country clubs?
They could put a polling place there, yeah.
Okay, so that's just
Okay.
that's just
Maybe Thomas, you want to get some info on that? Awesome. One particular case, they redrew the map to include a school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is college. I doubt it, but it might be high school or elementary school. That belonged to one of the incumbent's grandchildren.
Oh,
Now they redistrict maps all the time for school districts. They
Right.
do this a lot, and not necessarily to be malicious.
mm-hmm.
But in this case, they did it specifically because one of the incumbent's grandchildren were in that school, and he wanted it to be in that district.
And I'm sure that costs money.
Oh, of course it costs
Yeah,
money.
so that's
it costs
just-
a lot of money.
So that's a waste of taxpayer dollars right there for convenience.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm sure that politician needed to have that redone. I think maybe we can give him a pass.
The politician you
Yeah,
redrew the
we
map
can
for this?
definitely give him a pass for that.
I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with you on that one.
Of course,
Heavily.
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay, so that's Texas. Let me go to North Carolina, which makes Texas look
Mm-hmm.
delicious.
Okay.
Okay. So North Carolina in recent weeks have voted to approve, and so this is the House actually approved this.
Okay.
Okay, in North Carolina, and they are extremely draconian laws changes. They've also been deemed the worst in the country by many
For this particular reason.
For this particular reason.
Okay.
So let me read to you guys a little bit of what they did.
Sure.
They required voter IDs at polling places. I think that we could just mark that off as duh. They were absolutely going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? I think any state that is going to be changing the law is going to put voter IDs or requiring voter ID.
Right.
They reduced early voting periods from 17 days down to 10 days.
Okay.
Okay, so they got rid of some time of early voting, actually a week.
Okay.
Okay. They prohibit counties from extending polling hours by 1 hour on election day,
Mm-hmm.
even in circumstances such as extremely long lines. So we are very lucky that we have such an efficient polling stations,
Right.
polling process, because there's never long lines.
Yeah. Like
So-
we saw just last year.
Yeah, there was extremely long lines.
I remember them saying that the lines were so long, people were waiting 5, 6, 7 hours.
Didn't Obama say he was going to fix that?
He did say that.
Okay.
Well,
Did
what he did was he said that this shouldn't be.
I thought he
such
mentioned
long
that he
lines.
was going to try to figure out a way to fix this issue.
Well, let's hope he does, because that's completely ridiculous.
I have a feeling that he's not going to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, so the next one.
Mhm.
Eliminating, and I didn't even know that they did this, eliminated pre-registration for 16 and 17-year-olds who before were allowed to register to vote before they turned 18. So they couldn't actually vote.
Mm-hmm.
But like high schools would put on this, hey, come register to vote, so when you graduate and you turn 18 years old, you can actually vote, because voting is a very important part of being a U.S. citizen.
Right.
It is the most important part, in my opinion, and it is really our only right left.
Yeah, and
to
to me, voting sounds completely boring.
It's actually super liberating. Like, you feel great afterwards.
Well, I mean, just the thought that somebody says, "Hey, let's go vote today."
I would be super excited.
I mean, yeah, I would also be excited.
If you say, "Hey, Eddie, I'm going to go vote. You want to go with me?" I'd be like, "Yes." Let's stop at Circle K. We'll get some Mountain Dew Voltage. We'll make a day of it.
Well, if you're 16. Let's
if
say
you're
you're 16.
I didn't even get interested in voting until a couple of years ago.
Right. So if you're 16, you don't really want to vote. You don't really care about voting. There might be some individuals that are interested.
That's why this is so great.
Right.
Because
so that was
when
my
I
point.
was 16, I had no idea about what was going on in the world, or at least in the United States. I didn't know how important voting was. I didn't know how great it makes you feel after you go out and vote. But if there was somebody at the high school who said, "Hey, this is how it is. This is how important it is,"
which we didn't actually get.
No, we didn't get that.
No.
And it actually registered us to vote. Then I think that maybe I might have.
That's interesting.
The first time I ever registered to vote was at a parade.
The first time I registered to vote was at a 4th of July.
Yeah, it was 4th of July.
In Tempe. Somebody bothered me with a piece of paper and asked me what party affiliation I was.
What did you put down?
I put Democrat.
Okay. I had no idea.
When I was 16, I would have said Republican.
Right. Why?
Because I had no idea what I was talking about.
But why would you choose Republican?
I don't remember. I remember somebody asking me when I was in my teens, and I said Republican. And to me, and this could be very good propaganda back years ago, where I thought Republican meant you were more American.
Okay.
I remember
That's
having that type
answer.
of feeling. But this was
Thomas,
a while ago.
what did you classify yourself at 16? Did you even know?
Republican.
Republican
Why?
as well.
I'm actually going to have to side with Jason on this. For me, up in the small town that I grew up in, I felt, hey, if you're American, you're a Republican.
Do you know there is an independent box you can check on there? There's Republican, Independent, and Democrat. You guys know this, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually independent right now.
Oh, that's
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I actually registered Republican at 18 years old.
Did you?
I'm just giving you guys a lot of shit.
Okay.
But it wasn't for the reason that you guys had. It was just that I picked one.
Oh, it was just the first one that you
It was
saw.
the first one that was on there, and I just said, okay, I don't really know, so I'm just going to pick it.
Okay.
So that's why.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on.
Yes.
North Carolina made it illegal to have paid voter registration drives. Now, a paid voter registration drive is when I pay somebody to go out, like they did at the parade that you were at, and at the parade I was at, and I assume, Thomas, it was the parade you were at, and say, hey, you should register to vote. They pay these people, minimum wage or maybe $10 an hour to go do that. Now
Probably
that's illegal.
minimum wage. It's illegal now in North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
Okay.
This is something that I had to look up. This next one. Eliminated straight ticket voting.
Okay.
Also known as straight party voting. So on some ballots, they have a box that says Party Democrat, Party Republican, or something to the effect of that.
Okay.
And what that does is it makes the recorder of your ballot know that you're going to vote. Like for me, in my instance, would be vote Democrat all the way down.
Oh, so every instance where there is a vote to be cast,
it's whichever box you check.
It's for Democrats for everything else.
Right.
Okay.
So they got rid of that.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
Okay, and the reason is because you could be voting for a particular politician, for a local politician. Let's say a mayor
Sure.
or a senator, a state senator,
Right.
And even if they're nowadays, if they're Democrat or Republican, whichever you check, could be pushing legislation that might go against your point of view. So what you're doing is you're saying, I'm just gonna vote team Democrat all the way down, no matter what, even though some legislation that might be being pushed by these people, by these politicians, may not coincide with your views. So what I think
Can
is...
you tell me one person?
Okay.
I'm not going to say the city we live in,
Right.
but you know what it is.
Yes.
Can you name one person on the council, town council?
The town council?
Yes.
No, I cannot.
Can you name the?
You're calling me out here right now.
Can
just so
you
know.
name the mayor
No, but you know what? The mayor actually came to my house.
to ask you to vote for him?
Yes. So, which I thought was
What was
pretty
his
great.
name? You don't remember?
I
He came
don't
to your
remember
house.
the
You don't
name.
remember his name.
He came to my house. It was like probably 7:00 at night, and he had a truck and a trailer, and on that trailer was like a VW bus or VW Bug that was like completely convertible.
Sure.
And
Sounds fun.
was yellow, and
He's a fun mayor.
fun mayor. I thought, and I didn't.
Did you vote for him?
I did not.
Oh my God!
Did not vote for
the
him.
man decided to come to your house.
Yeah.
He took the time
Mhm.
at 7:00. He showed up in a yellow VW bus.
Yeah, a bug,
A bug.
a convertible bug.
Convertible bug.
Yes.
Even better.
Yep.
And you, sir, had the audacity. You had the cojones not to vote for this guy?
I did not vote for him. No, I did not vote.
You didn't vote at all?
I didn't vote at all in that election.
What is wrong with you?
I just didn't vote.
You got to vote, man.
I'm gonna vote.
Everybody listening now, if you're not registered to vote, do it immediately.
Yes.
Immediately.
I meant. See, here's the thing. For people who are listening, I did not vote in the presidential election.
That's not good.
Okay, I wanted to, but I didn't register in time.
Okay.
Okay, so I was unable to. I wasn't given the opportunity to vote.
Okay.
I will be voting from now on.
Okay. Good.
Okay,
Good. I'm
just
glad.
so everybody is aware, I will be voting
I
from
have
now
voted
on.
twice in the presidential election so far.
Okay. And for who? You don't want to say.
No, I'll say.
Okay.
I voted for Obama twice.
Okay.
I wasn't particularly happy about it the second time,
Right.
but
I
you know,
feel that the first time you voted for him,
I was very excited.
Yeah.
I was very excited.
I think a lot of people were.
I thought we were ready to have a black president.
Yep.
And I really believed in what he was talking about.
Hmm. Well, he's a good speaker.
Yeah, one would say speaker.
Yeah.
Others may say fibber. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this next one kind of hits home a little bit
Hmm.
because I'll tell you what it is first. So they eliminated provisional voting if you're in the wrong district
Okay.
or precinct rather.
Hmm.
I got a provisional ballot last year.
Okay. Now, will you explain the provisional ballot?
Provisional ballot it can be if they think that your name or your address is incorrect, or if you're in the wrong polling station.
Yeah.
They give what's called a provisional ballot. So they put it in a separate section,
Mhm.
and then they count those votes
After the main vote.
after
right.
the main votes.
Yes, okay.
If it matters.
Right.
Okay. So if they're so close,
Mhm.
the two people running against each other, or three sometimes, if they're so close that they have to come to provisional ballots,
Yeah.
then they will.
Okay.
If it's like a landslide, they're not going to worry about it.
Right. And I think for another show, we might touch on how ridiculous our voting system is.
I agree.
Okay.
But I got this provisional ballot, and I believe it's just because I went to the wrong polling station.
Okay.
I just looked up online. I put my address in, and I said, "What's the closest polling station to my house?" I actually went there late.
Okay.
Because I came home from work.
So you voted,
I voted.
and then they said, "Sorry, your vote doesn't count."
No. In North Carolina, they have now eliminated provisional or provisional balloting or provisional voting if you're in the wrong place.
So no, my question is though, you voted,
Yes.
okay, and then they sent you a letter saying, "I'm sorry, your vote doesn't count.
No.
We want you to revote."
No.
Or
Where did you get that?
you just said you voted. You
Right.
went to a polling station.
Yes.
You voted.
Yes.
You got a provisional ballot.
I did.
Okay, you filled it out.
I did.
You sent it back.
Well, I just put it in their little box.
You put it in the
to get
box. And they counted. So they didn't count your first one.
No. Okay.
Oh, so you took the provisional ballot to the polling station.
I think you're misunderstanding.
Okay.
What provisional ballots are.
Sure.
Okay. So, you and I go into a voting booth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, a polling station.
Right.
Not polling station. A voting station.
Okay.
Okay. you are in the right place,
Okay.
and I am not.
All right.
Okay, or my address doesn't match what I registered on my driver's license.
Mhm.
That's a kind of a better scenario.
Okay.
So but yours does.
Right.
So they give you a regular ballot,
Mm-hmm.
and you go in the booth, and then you mark off all the things that people you want to vote for.
Okay.
You can write your name in, which I did for a couple of those things. However, I was not elected, unfortunately.
Unfortunately for me.
And then you put it in a box, and then you move on. They give you a sticker. Sometimes they give you a cookie,
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you're at, and then you leave.
Okay.
I, who got the provisional ballot, got to go to another line.
Right. Oh, so they said you need to, now that you've gotten to the front,
You need to go to this
you
line
go to
over
this
there.
other long line.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you need to go and get the provisional ballot from those people over there. And so I did, and then I filled my stuff out, which is basically the same thing, but it's
Right.
pink instead of white.
Okay, so.
And then I put it in a separate section. Now, when they're going to count the main votes, they're going to count your vote first.
yours. Mine.
Yours.
My vote. Okay.
So let's say we're voting for Thomas, okay?
Yeah.
Or Thomas is running against somebody else. Thomas is in the lead
Mm-hmm.
by 1 million votes,
Okay.
okay? On a local election, that's insane.
Right.
That is an astronomical lead.
Okay.
They're not going to count my vote because they don't need to.
Okay.
They don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say he's in the lead by 1,200 votes.
Right.
Then they'll count it.
Okay.
Because I could vote for him, I could have voted for somebody else. It's very close, so they'll count my vote at that point.
So in North Carolina,
You can't do that anymore.
you don't get a
if
provisional
you're
ballot.
in the wrong precinct.
They just say, sorry, you're not voting.
Sorry, you're not voting.
That's
you have to go to
terrible.
the right precinct. And you want to interject, Thomas?
So one of the things I noticed about the provisional ballots and stuff like that is that, say I'm in the lead by 500 votes,
Mm-hmm.
and there's 500 provisional ballots, they
Yes.
will count those.
Okay.
But if I'm ahead by 500
Mhm.
and there's only 100 provisional ballots,
They won't count 'em.
those.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, I've won.
So
Right.
at some
even if
point-
they voted for the other person 100% of the time, then you're still going to win.
So
Right.
at some point, your vote really does not count at all.
Yeah.
In this particular instance,
Right.
that's terrible.
It's terrible. I don't like provisional ballots at all.
So,
So basically, they put all these laws in place,
mhm.
and the reasoning behind it is called election integrity. And
that sounds legitimate.
you would think it's legitimate,
Yeah.
but it's basically what I talked about earlier, which is just for voter fraud,
Yeah.
which doesn't really happen. I mean, it does happen, but it's very minute.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I've gotten to the point where if any Republican puts out a law or forms a group that sounds too legit,
Is it too legit to quit,
it
Jason?
is too legit that it sounds like that, it's probably pretty scammy.
Yeah, I take it case by case.
But most cases.
Most cases,
You would
yeah.
say that.
These days.
Okay.
Maybe not 10 years ago.
No,
Nah,
definitely.
maybe not 15 years ago, but today.
Maybe not. Yeah. We'll
We'll come back to that.
come back to that.
So Eric Holder is now filing a lawsuit against Texas for their
Okay.
voter ID laws.
Good.
And his quote here, which I think is okay. I mean, it's kind of the standard thing that you would say. My colleagues and I, this is a quote, my colleagues and I are determined to use every tool at our disposal to stand against such discrimination wherever it is found.
Well, they should be doing that already.
Well, here's what the tools that they had to do this.
Okay.
Section 4 and Section 5 of the damn Voting Rights Act.
Right. Which is now
It's gone.
gone.
It's gone. They had this tool already, and they mucked it up. They mucked it up. Now I'm not in a good mood. Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate that. Which is the reason why we're gonna do some lighter stories here in a sec. So
Yeah.
I think we should take a break.
Yep. Let's take a break.
And we're gonna come back and talk about Larry Summers, and we're also gonna talk about slut bags and twats.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
I was going to say another word, but Thomas advised me not to say it in the teaser. So we're going to be right back, okay?
Okay.